Good boy, good boy, good boy.
I reckon it's time for an update. There's a couple of things going on this table. The belt grinder that you saw me build last year, that motor on it is a second-hand motor, and it carked it about 6 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, something like that. And I've been looking around for another motor for it, and this grey one turned up, but it's kind of the wrong shaft size, it's still not really powerful enough, and so on and so on. So I went and bought a chipper chopper, which is a mulching machine basically. It's got a spinning blade and it's got a decent 2 horsepower motor that spins at the right speed. And I know that this is a good motor because I use the same one on my bandsaw. But I had troubles getting the rotation to reverse, and the shaft has a left-hand thread on it, and this needs turning down and then building back up and then remachining. It's also a flange mount motor, not a foot mount. You can see that the grinder needs a foot mount motor. And one thing led to another, and I just got frustrated and fed up with this, and I decided I'm just going to spend the money on a new motor that really, really suits this machine. And I think this machine deserves it because it's an awesome bit of kit, just needs the motor. So that's on order, and that should be here next week. And you can see that I've got a bunch of this angle iron. I'm going to show you what that's for in a minute. And what you're looking at now is the normal state of things in the workshop. Just everything's a mess and needs a tidy up. So give me a minute and I'll tidy up. That's a bit tidier. Actually, one of the things in the workshop that's changed is the location of a few of the machines and the benches. You may remember that the mill was here and the lathes were sort of wrapped around here. And I decided to change that around because, as you can see on the floor, the mill pallet came to here and the handles stuck out further again. And here I had a big square workbench. And that pushed everything that way too far. So this is now nice and sleek down here, and all of this stuff is narrower and doesn't protrude too far. So this is really nice. I like this. And of course the mill is a very deep machine. You know, it sticks out a long way this way. And so in this nook here is the ideal place for the mill to live. And beside it I've got my machine cabinet. And that cabinet has great clearance even when the table is wound all the way out. There's plenty of space here. And I can get to all of my stuff. This distance here is over 1 meter, I think, so very comfortable and very easy to access. I've put my welding stuff on the left now. 2 welders are here, and I've got a proper outlet for them on the wall. And my welding bench is now at this end. This was the woodwork end, and now my woodwork stuff is stored along this wall, and I'm actually going to sell this thicknesser. I did sell the jointer already, and I'm shrinking down my pile of woodwork tools to just take up this little bit of wall. And I want this to be welding focused. And that's going well so far. I really like the space that's given me in the middle of the room, because I did have sort of an island of several machines here and a bench, and it came a long way this way. This shows you the relationship between the 2 benches now and the floor space that I've gained in the middle. I'm really excited about this. This gives me somewhere to build larger things that need to be welded on sawhorses or whatever. And getting my machines that do make sparks away from the machine end into the welding end is just a really good idea. And when this door gets changed for a couple of hinging doors, ordinary personal access doors, that will mean I can just swing the door open effortlessly and blow some smoke or whatever it is out of the workshop. This wall here changed a bit. There was a double cabinet here which kept my solvents and glues and all that kind of stuff, and that has moved to there. And I like that idea because it puts the solvents and flammable stuff more near the door. That made space for 2 welders to go in here, and next to the welding bench that makes a lot of sense. This wooden unit is going to go soon. I'm going to put a shelf across the top here, and some of these woodwork power tools are going to go but the remainder are going to go across the top and sort of be infrequent use, and that gives me a bit more width along here, and I might be able to pull the drill press and the vacuum and my camera stand in. My camera stand I'm using at the moment, but it normally is parked over there. So if I can shrink all this, that'd be great. One of the little jobs I did recently but didn't film was changing the casters on my engine crane. They were these small cast iron ones that were half the diameter and about 1/10 as strong, and so I'm much happier with these big 5" by 2" cast iron ones with a polyurethane tyre. These roll around on the concrete beautifully, and I've used this crane a few times now with the new tyres and wheels, and it really works well. The other benefit is they are locking, and they lock rotation and they lock the swivel. So, and the 4 wheels that actually bear weight, these 4, are all that kind of locking one. So now I don't need to chock the wheels or anything. It's just works really well. Recommend this upgrade to anyone. And I've been lazy and I've just cut some plates to suit the size, and I've just welded them on. The wheels are now the best thing about this. So if this wears out and dies and breaks, it'll be everything but the wheels that's worn out. So I don't foresee changing the wheels anytime in the future. This grinder, as I mentioned, had an motor problem, and I'll show you that. As you can hear, the switch gear inside the motor that enables and disables the starter winding is dead. You know, it's like a plastic cage thing, and it's all just fallen to bits, and it's just too old, and I'm not going to be able to make one, I don't think. It's an injection molded part with lots of little features, and I guess it has to be non-conductive too. But anyway, I'm going to move on from that motor. I've got a new one on the way. That'll get installed on this. Then this will get its own base, and this will live in the grinding room in the corner. And I know I've said that before, but you know, that is on the cards now. It's taking up space on my welding table. The little CNC that I picked up, I actually dismantled the enclosure because it was way too big. And so I'm going to use this just open, and I'm going to have a dust shoe connected to my dust extractor. And there's some lights and some engines on here that are going to go to my mate Stu. There's stuff in that green box that I need some ideas about how to store. I was sorting through my workshop and trying to tidy up and find out what was taking up space and why the place was so cluttered, and I came up with this category of things that's basically PPE, personal protective equipment, and paper towels and hand wipes and rags, and what else is in there? Hand moisturiser and stuff like that, and gloves. So I've realised that all of this stuff kind of nominally belongs together, and I could have some little cabinet somewhere or some kind of station where I keep stuff like that. Now, I just haven't thought about it yet, but if you've got ideas, let me know below. That'd be great. The carpet tiles are in the way there, but I've got a little slim pallet that I'm going to put them on, and then I can sort of fork them around easily using the pallet jack. I'm basically keeping them until I can get the floor on the clean room done, and there will definitely be spares after that, but I can probably sell those or use them in drawers or something. But for now, they're just I'm just sort of shuffling them around and trying to get them out of the way. Getting this big bench into the metalworking area was a difficult decision for me because I built it as a woodworking bench, and I intended to do woodwork on that bench, and I intended to keep it clean and perfect and so on. And I have a woodwork vise that I was going to install on there. And it's a nice vise, and it'd be great for woodworking, but I came to a sort of reality a few months ago, which is that I'm just not doing any woodwork, and I haven't got room for the metalwork I want to do. So as you've seen, I'm shrinking down the woodwork side of things. I'm tempted to do more guitar repairs and things like that, but I'm trying to focus on machining and video making, and I can't do everything. The more of the other stuff I do, the less machining I can do, and so on and so on. So my big vise came off this bench and onto the corner of this bench, and that was the turning point. This bench is nice and heavy, nice and stable, and that vise goes great on there. and really happy with that. And it sort of frees up this little table to be a bit of a drawing table and somewhere to sit and sketch and so on, and have a cuppa. Oh, and I picked up these nice little drawers. They're Bisley style drawers, but they're not real Bisleys. One of the upshots of this being the welding bench, and that over there being the bench that's for machining stuff, is that all my machining stock is in here. And this is a sort of killing two birds with one stone move, because these drawers are overloaded. Not necessarily this one, but the ones below have some really heavy sections of steel, and they're overloaded. And I don't like it when Rusty walks underneath. Nothing's broken, nothing's bent, nothing's changed, but I just don't want to one day find him flat underneath a drawer. So this is going to change. I'm moving all these materials to under the machining bench, and I've got a different method for storage. And these drawers are going to be used for all of the sort of welding accessories and gubbins. You know the stuff I mean, MIG tips and nozzles and spare hoses and electrodes and arc welding electrodes and TIG electrodes. And there's probably bits and pieces that I'll have to get for the plasma too. And gloves and squares that I've made and clamps. So all of that stuff will live under there in those drawers. I was trying to figure out how I could do storage underneath this bench in a way that isn't reliant on drawer slides and things, which are expensive for the heavy duty ones. And then I found these boxes. These were sort of stashed underneath here. They were spread out on my wooden shelves, and they had sort of potions and things in before the what do you call it, the solvent cabinet came along. So these drawers were empty and spare, and I was sort of thinking of getting rid of them, and then I found out they fit under here beautifully. All I need to do, I've got a loose bit of form ply on the bottom there, which you can just about see there, and I need to inset that into the base, these rails here, and I need to produce 3 more shelves, and that's what this 5mm steel angle is all about. I'm going to produce some shelves that are this way up with the form ply sat inside, so it's flush on top, and then these will be essentially trays on a heavy duty shelf, but they'll act as drawers. And as you can see, there's no drawer slides to bend or break, and I think it'll be a more robust solution. And all my machining materials from there will go in there. So that will be good. The slightly longer stuff, because this drawer is deeper, the longest stuff will go behind the stairs. This is the sort of long steel storage place that I'm talking about. It is carnage in here at the moment, so I'm not going to show you too much of that. But yeah, those are the changes to the workshop. I've moved a few things around, made things a bit more logical, opened up a lot more storage space. This just had sort of bulky things sat under there, and it was a lot of wasted space. And I think this is all a positive step. And having this extra space around here, I could move this bench even more this way if I wanted to, and give myself loads of room. I could build a trailer in that gap. It's that kind of size. And of course, with the pallet jack, I can move these things around very easily. So very pleased, and I think it's a positive move. I'm not 100% thrilled about getting rid of one of the machines, the jointer, and getting rid of the thicknesser too, which is going to happen soon. In an ideal world, I would keep those, but I'm sort of coming to terms with the fact that that was me 15 years ago, and since I found metalworking, I've got my first metal lathe in the early part of 2017, and I just haven't looked back. I haven't wanted to make any furniture or do any of that kind of thing, so I've got to get real, and I've got to shrink this stuff down to be a realistic, take up a proportional amount of my workshop based on how much I need to use the stuff. And I love the table saw. It's super useful all of the time, even when I'm not making furniture. And of course I made the bandsaw, so I don't want to get rid of that. The CNC could be used for plastic and aluminium, so I'm going to keep that. And the dust extractor makes all of those others workable. So that's the rationale behind those. And there's a lot I can do with routers and track saw and sanders and jigsaw and drills and all the rest. So a lot of the things I do need to make that are made of wood now are sort of simple constructions that are done with You know, it could be done with dowels and nice quality plywood and things like that. I don't necessarily need to start with rough sawn timber. So taking the jointer and thicknesser away makes a fairly minimal impact on what I can and can't do. And I've got hand planes anyway, so for the odd piece of wood here and there, or small projects, I can hand plane, and that's no issue. Well, that's the workshop changes. I've got a few things that have arrived that I'd like to show you, and a few thanks to give out to people that have sent me some things. So let's have a look at those. Most recent thing on that list is this beautiful device from Bill. This is a handmade forge, and it's got slots in the front which allow you to heat treat knives, and they're in pins. They're just pins and they come out, so if I want to do something bulky, then that's easy enough. The door is on a hinge. This is where the burner goes in, and it's multiple layers of fire bricks all around, and it's a welded construction, and there's a bit of a vent on the back, and there's a couple of broken fire bricks, but I do have a set of the same sort of fire bricks that I've been using as a makeshift hearth anytime I want to do some, you know, annealing or heat something up to bend it or whatever. So a couple of these will be changed out, and my bullfinch torch, not sure if I showed you that, so just let's take a detour. This is the bullfinch torch. This is an old model, but it's got an auto igniter built in, and it requires a regulator, and it's very effective, and I was able to get stuff hotter faster with that than the biggest blowtorch that I can get from my local hardware shop. So that's a really cool tool, and it runs on just propane, which is cheap to renew, and it doesn't take up much space. I've got a 6-meter hose with it, super useful. But back to the story, my bullfinch torch almost sort of fits in here. I might have to modify it a little bit, but that could work for smaller jobs. But the idea is to have a proper burner, a gas burner, and Bill also gave me some of the parts to make a burner. This is an air control, and this disc closes down the air that can get in. This needs to be tapped for a copper compression fitting, I think, and then it needs a section of copper, because all this does get pretty hot. I did ask about having an ordinary propane flexible hose going up to here, but Bill reckons I shouldn't. And then it needs some sections of piping to let the fuel and the air mix. And this is a MIG tip. This is a 0.6 MIG tip, and Bill's found that to be the ideal size for a propane burner. So yeah, that's going to get finished off. I've lost a screw. That's going to get finished off, and I might tidy up some. This is obviously one of Bill's previous projects. I might tidy up some welds and get some more paint on some of this. Maybe some heat-proof black paint. Change out a couple of the bricks, but otherwise it's basically ready to go. Looking forward to firing that up. And while we're on the subject of gifts from Bill, this also came from Bill. This was a few months ago, or maybe a year ago now. I haven't done anything with it yet. It's a toaster oven, and I'm going to use it as a tempering oven. So the idea of all of this gear is, if I want to make something from tool steel that needs a bit more hardness than usual, then I can harden and temper with this kind of setup. In fact, one of the ideas I had just recently was to make some kind of a cart which has the gas bottle, the tempering oven, and the forge on it, which has the same form factor as my TIG welding trolley, with a gas bottle on the back and this sort of double height thing here. And being that this is a gas-powered device, apart from the tempering oven, being that the forge is a gas-powered device, I thought it might be nice to sort of tuck it in here and treat it on have it on a trolley and be able to pull it out, take it outside maybe if I want to do some torch work or some whatever. And I think that might be the way I go. But as mentioned, it's just an idea at this stage, so no promises. This is a Craig's Workshop mug that Michael, my friend, made for me. He's getting kitted up to make all of this kind of merchandise and that kind of stuff. So he wanted to test a couple of things out, and I think this test has come out very well. I don't yet know if I'll sell these. I guess it depends on how much interest there is, and also how would I ship that across the world. I don't know. There is another possibility. This mug came from my friend Paul at Knackler's workshop, and he sent me this early on when I first found his channel. I was amazed. He got another one of these, bought it and sent it across the world to me as a gift, which is awesome. But Michael's also getting set up to make this style of mug potentially. And this is metal, so this would be possible to ship around the world. I don't know. Is anybody interested in something like this? And while he was at it, he also made me an A4 metal sign, which says Craig's Workshop's got my logo on it. So I'm pleased with that. So if I'm ever walking around my workshop and I forget who I am, I can look up and find out. So thank you very much, Michael. Those are awesome. And good luck with your business in the future, making more merch. The next thing that came in were these great stickers from Mick's workshop. These will go on the board in a minute. And Mick's in the US, go over and have a look at his channel. And if anybody wants to do sticker, so thanks for these, Mick. But if anybody wants to do sticker swaps or whatnot, just get in touch. You can find my email on my about page of my channel. So there's Mick's sticker up on the board, and ever since I started doing this thing, I've kept every envelope, every letter that's been sent to me, and that's quite a significant number. So it's great to have a bit of a machining community, and I like the sticker swap thing. It's good. As for projects, really the main thing that I'm working on, and it's been on pause for a few months while my parents have been here, and I've been doing some work on the house, renovated a couple of rooms and so on. So workshop has taken a back seat, but I'm back to it now. And the thing that's going to take priority is the big lathe. I've got a DRO kit, which you can see in those brown boxes. And I've got a quick change tool post to put on it and a few other little things to bring it up to speed. And want to put some storage on the back. There is a splash guard, it's off at the moment, but it sort of protects the wall from splashes. Yeah, I've got quite a few little mini projects to do on this, so that's where my main channel will be headed, I think. But, you know, anything goes, really. Anything could happen. So don't hold your breath for any particular video. Well, thanks for watching. And before I go, I just wanted to say, if I make some more regular videos of this nature, where it's not necessarily building, it's just the updates, and I'm thinking of Jeremy Makes Things. I'm thinking of his channel. He does a great job of making sure it's a weekly thing where he, even if it's only 2 or 3 minutes, he gives you the update, and I find them interesting. So if people want to see that kind of thing from me, at least during the weeks where I'm busy in the workshop, I'd be happy to make a quick video like this for this channel, and maybe put them out early on Patreon as well, a bit like Jeremy does. So yeah, I'm nicking all your ideas, Jeremy, thanks. That would be, I think I could do that. I don't think it would be too much of a strain on the system. So let me know if that interests you, and otherwise I'll see you in the next video.